Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back to the Uncle Sharma channel. That little intro, you guys know if you're on Twitter, if you've been following social media last couple of months, that Chiringuito dude guy who starts off his videos in the most dramatic fashion as if he's the baddest Bond villain. So shouts out to that guy, man. The way that guy starts his videos is an inspiration. So that was the inspo behind that. But it's a big one, guys. We're here for a big one. Euro 2020 semi-final, Italy versus Spain. Obviously, that's going to be the main topic for this video today. And by the way, guys, for the people that are here and the people that are watching afterwards, I've started uploading my episodes on Anchor. So audio versions of my videos are now available on Spotify, Google Podcast, all those different platforms. They automatically post them for me when I upload the audio versions of my videos now, because I had a few requests. I'm just testing it out. If you guys don't get to watch videos, a lot of the guys say you don't get time to watch the live streams. A lot of people listen on their journeys, driving and stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to get the audio versions, so you can follow me on all those different platforms now. But yeah, testing it out. If no one really listens on there, then I'll stop doing it. But yeah, if people are interested in listening to audio only versions of me rambling, you can check me out on there. But yeah, who's in the house, man? Who's in the house? I'm excited for this one. This is a big one, man. This is my guy Snudgers already in here. Congrats on your job recently as well, bro. Ready to absorb this Uncle Sharma knowledge session. Jeez, nah, man. You guys provide the comments and the knowledge, and I just kind of give my own takes and opinions. But actually, today I am gonna throw a little bit of knowledge at you, at your faces, at your heads. Yo, King Dorian joining in as well. Damn, you guys got a hurricane up there. Keep safe, bro. Hope you guys are keeping safe. I'm sure you joined somewhere from the Caribbean, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah, stay safe, bro. Thanks for joining still without messing with the electricity messed up. Peta, what's up, bro? What do you think of Bellerin joining Inter? I've spoken about it briefly on my previous videos. We're not going to speak too much about Inter today, but no, I'm not particularly a big fan, Peta, of the prospect of Bellerin joining Inter, because he's just not that good. But financially, it makes sense. If it's going to be a loan with the option to buy something like that, it makes sense. But we can look at it more in depth once the Euro is over, guys. We can look at Inter stuff. I'm just focusing down on Inter. Trumbach, what's up, bro? Can you join? Today I'm just going solo. I'm just going solo because I know when I get other people on, we can talk on for ages, and the videos end up being like hour long, which I think some people might like, some people might not. But I'm going to try, when I do these solo ones, to keep them to 30-40 minutes. Speak my spiel, whatever I want to talk to you guys, and then you obviously react to your comments, and then kind of end it there. If I get people on, it gets a little bit long-winded. We start debating on things. Jerry Mancini was close to coming on today, and I know with Jerry, Lazio fan, big Immobile fan, I would have ended up talking to him, slandering Immobile for half the stream and stuff like that. So yeah, Italia, yeah. Anyway, there's 12-13 of you in here. We can kick off, man. I'm so excited about this one. So gassed, man. Like, it's going to be such a good match. If you're a football purist, these are the type of matches that you live for. This is what we live and breathe for, these type of big matches. And that, the main talking point of this match, obviously, is that, Italy, Spain history, of recent history. Italy fans, Italian fans, Azzurri fans will remember Euro 2012. Italy got to the final and got smacked around 4-0 in that final. Not good at all. Not good memories. Great memories of that tournament in general. That Balotelli-Cassano partnership, Pirlo in midfield balling out. But what a bad ending that was. And, that video of Casillas asking the linesman, saying, end the match now because we want to respect the Italy, respect for Italy, because, it was starting to get embarrassing. Spain at that time where, that was their peak between 2008, 2012. Spain were just unstoppable. Maybe the best international team of all time in terms of that period. Just that style of football kind of revolutionized everything, revolutionized football. Since then, Spain have been, not on the same level. Italy also, since that 2012, not on the same level, didn't even make the World Cup in 2018. But since 2018, Italy have been on a very, ascending trajectory, whereas Spain, it doesn't feel quite the same. But semi-final, they still got to the semi-final. I didn't particularly rate this Spain team since as King Dorian says, revenge for 2012. That's the big storylines of this match. But on paper, I don't really rate this Spain team. When I look at it on paper, there's no standout players to me, but they're here in the semi-final, deservedly so. Maybe not in the most convincing fashion. One win in the 5 matches in this tournament in 90 minutes. In the last match, they just got past Switzerland through extra time and penalties. Not the most convincing penalties either. A Switzerland team that were without Xhaka, their captain, their leader. Embolo was injured in the 20-30 minutes through the match. Red card as well, obviously. Remo Freuler, if you think is a harsh or not a red card, it looked like a red card to me. But yes, without one of their midfield engines as well, and still Spain struggled to get past that Switzerland team. And then also taking it through extra time against Croatia. Not the best Croatia team of the last few years, as I mentioned. I didn't really fancy this Croatia team this tournament. I felt like they lacked cutting edge, and they still managed to put past 3 goals past this Spain team. So in general, there was only one match that they won in 90 minutes, which was against Slovakia, and that was affected by Dubravka making one of the worst mistakes we've seen in this tournament, complete brain dead moment. And then after that, Spain completely annihilated them. But yeah, all the other matches, they haven't looked particularly convincing, but they've dominated. Well, as you would expect, they've dominated the ball in every single one of those matches. The possession wise, they're always right up there. But as I keep saying through this tournament, it just feels like when Spain keep possession of the ball, it just seems like it's just there. Their philosophy is the best way to defend is possession. That's the best way. If you have the ball, how are the other team going to attack? So that's their philosophy, and most of the time it works, and that's how they've got here. They keep possession for 65-70% of a match. But are they really incisive? Do they really create anything? In my opinion, not really. Although they have the highest XG of this tournament, which is 12.2, I believe, XG, and they've scored just below the XG, which means that they do create a lot of chances or high quality chances, whereas Italy overperformed their XG at the moment in this tournament by a couple of goals, which means that although Italy, as we've seen, they take a lot of shots on goal, but a lot of them are quite speculative a lot of the time. They're from outside the box. It's usually like Berardi or Insigne cutting in from the wing and taking a speculative shot, or someone from midfield taking a shot from distance. Whereas with Spain, from what I've seen in these matches, they do create a lot of quality chances. Even in the Switzerland game, they create a lot of chances. Morata, Gerard Moreno, their main strikers have been misfiring. Morata has, is almost becoming comical at this point, the amount of chances that guy misses. But he came through for them when time mattered against Croatia. He scored that good volley against them. Gerard Moreno has been even more wasteful than Morata against Switzerland. He had 2 great chances that I don't know how he missed, especially the volley one. So that's definitely going to be a big storyline of this match going in. Can Spain actually convert their chances? Because they've had a lot of chances throughout this tournament. Only weakness, Ahmad says, the only weakness to me is Italy's Emerson. I hope he steps up. Yeah, so let's take a look into this void that, as Snudger said, the void left by Spinazzola. Once again, shouts out to Spinazzola, man. What a sad injury, a sad way to end this tournament. But I saw today picture of him already. They've operated on his Achilles, so he's already started his road to recovery. So shouts out to him, man. Spinazzola, awful way to end the tournament. Ended in tears. But this Italy team, as we know, it is a team, and I am confident that whoever steps into this role will be up to the task. So let's have a look at the predicted lineups from Who Scored, who are putting Emerson at left back. Unchanged lineup apart from that, which I'm happy with. But there's a few ways of looking at this guys. And I've prepared. This is where I was talking about. I'm going to throw some knowledge at your head. A tactical board here, talking through the team. So Italy, both teams actually play a 4-3-3, which is really interesting, and it's very similar, the 4-3-3 that both teams play, because it's an asymmetric 4-3-3 for both teams. As we see here, I've put Italy's this is Italy attacking, so this will be Italy on the ball. So usually it would be the 4-3-3 with the four at the back, but we've seen when Italy have the ball, Spinazzola is basically given freedom to roam and be a winger, left winger pretty much, and Di Lorenzo tucks in really tight a lot of the times to make it a 3 at the back, with Bonucci and Chiellini becoming a 3 at the back. And then you have, Jorginho is the regista who stays a little bit deeper than Verratti usually is, near Jorginho, a little bit over on this side, and Barellino, Nicolo Barella, is the one that's given the freedom to, make the marauding runs into the box, or sometimes even inside, whether it's Berardi or Chiesa coming in. We've seen in the average positions, usually Barella is even wider than the winger here. And this is the key, overload area that Italy have been playing on, this left-hand side where Spinazzola gets really high. He lets Insigne come on the inside, and Verratti also comes in here. And this is where Italy are able to create those overloads, but also overlaps, with Spinazzola sometimes getting even further behind. He's usually sometimes even the furthest player up front. We've seen sometimes Bonucci has the ball and he'll do a long ball up here, and Spinazzola is, outside the camera shot, and you're just like, wow, this guy is all the way up there. So he's given so much freedom by Mancini, quite rightly, because he's got that athletic ability, that pace, that incisiveness, and that 1v1 ability to be able to isolate the right back or right wing back, whoever is playing there, and cause trouble. But now we know, unfortunately, Spina get well soon. He's not going to be part of the lineup. So as the predicted lineup spot, it could be Emerson Palmieri there. Now, Emerson, he's an interesting player. He's, in the 2 years of Mancini in qualifying, he's been actually the starting left back for most of the qualifying campaign. It looked like Mancini, he's one of, those trusted guys that looked like Mancini was going to pick regardless of whether he plays at Chelsea or not, which he doesn't. He's become third choice since Tuchel's come in. Alonso, his second choice, and Chilwell was first choice, and he's barely gets any time, but he easily gets into this Italy squad because of the lack of a choice really at left back. And he's not the same. Obviously, he's a left-footed left back, unlike Spinazzola, who's a right-footed left back. But as we've seen, Spinazzola likes to go on the outside, and he leaves that space for Insigne to get inside. So in that sense, Emerson will have a similar job to overlap and give Insigne that freedom to go on that inside half space. And in terms of athleticism, yes, maybe he's not as quick. Not many players. Spinazzola is definitely the quickest in Italy's team, and I've seen a few players confirm that in some videos that Spinazzola would win the 100-meter race in the Italy team. But Emerson is not too bad in terms of athleticism, quickness, agility, 1v1 ability. Maybe definitely a step down, but energy-wise, he's a willing runner. He's a willing, energetic runner. So I wouldn't expect any step down in that sense. But yeah, we're definitely going to lose a lot of incisiveness, a lot of surprise factor with Spinazzola. You don't know whether he's going to go inside or outside. Whereas with Emerson, we know this guy is going to always go on the outside 95% of the time. Maybe sometimes he might cut inside. Over the years, when you look at Emerson's assist and goal record, is very poor. It's very poor. You think of him as an attacking fullback, but his numbers really don't reflect that. He's got hardly any goals in his career and low amount of assists, thinking, he's got a nice left foot, but you think he's got more assists than he actually has. So we do lose some final product there as well with from losing Spinazzola. And defensively as well is the reason why he's the third choice at Chelsea, because there's a lot of question marks on him defensively. The fact that Marcos Alonso, who is a big question mark defensively, gets ahead of him in the Chelsea team it shows that. So for that reason, there could be a surprise inclusion, or not surprise, but it's a tactical choice that Snudgeth, who's also spoken about it on Twitter, which is Bastoni as the left back. So we know Italy's play is primarily based on the left-hand side because of the Spinazzola factor, because of Insigne, who is, he's the regista, he's the advanced regista. He's allowed to roam around in this area here and play passes in and around, combined with Immobile, combined with Verratti or with everyone else. But you could do the opposite. So we've been focusing all our play on the right hand side till now. The left hand side. But you could mirror the game. So by putting in Bastoni, who has played that role for Inter, and we've seen in a 3, but becomes a 4 with Inter. We've seen that happen where Bastoni here becomes a left back when we build up. We see Handanovic here with Skriniar and De Vrij, who are the 3, but then Hakimi. Bastoni goes out as a left back. Hakimi comes in as the right back. And we've seen that happen at Inter in the build-up phase for sure. So it's definitely possible. And then Di Lorenzo as the right back, or Florenzi, even Di Lorenzo or Florenzi, whoever he plays at right back, they're attacking right backs. That's their bread and butter, really. Di Lorenzo wants to be up here. He doesn't want to be really and truly, that's not his role, to be, the tucked-in centre-back almost. And Napoli, he's a marauding right back. He's got nice number of goals and assists this season for Napoli. He's had a great season for Napoli. Going forward, he's got a nice final product. He's got a nice right foot. So you could opt for an option like this where, you go for the 3 at the back and have Bastoni as the tucked-in centre-back, and then let Di Lorenzo come in or go on the outside of Jordi Alba and be the marauding right back, because he has got that in him. Again, he's maybe not on the same level as Spinazzola, obviously, in terms of pace, 1v1 ability, but he's got that in his locker. And then this is where you could pick here of putting Chiesa, because it looks like it will be Chiesa once again. He had a decent match against Belgium, nothing outstanding. But here you could have Berardi. This is where having that inverted winger, left footer, cutting in inside, letting Di Lorenzo do his thing out on the outside, cause havoc on the outside, let Berardi come in on the inside, giving Jordi Alba question marks, giving him headache on what to do, whether to tuck in inside or go to press Di Lorenzo high, or stay inside, stay wide. Giving Pau Torres as well. Does he come in? Does he close up the space with Barella also coming in, causing havoc? You could create that same square that we were talking about there. The combination. You could create it on the right hand side, rather instead of focusing on the left hand side. So that could be an interesting tactical option. But obviously, do you really want to change up things so drastically coming into a Euro 2020 semi-final match against Spain like this? It's a big risk. The team is obviously built up those automatism. We've seen the team almost knows, it's almost memorized some of the movements. We've seen that in Inter, everything we do is all on the right hand side with Hakimi, Barella, Lukaku when he comes out on the right hand side. Whether it's Skriniar, whoever's the right centre back on that side knows exactly the movements. But here you would have to kind of reinvent the wheel a little bit, and then it doesn't quite work as much in terms of the centre backs. Chiellini would have to be the central centre back there. Would that really work? Because Bonucci is the one that really thrives here when he's given that when he's given that role of the deep lying regista, almost, spraying balls around and then kill. Yeah, it doesn't really make as much sense to have those, to reinvent the wheel there, to have Chiellini and Bonucci there, inverting the role. So it's just an option that, we've put out there that could be possible. Or you could just keep Bastoni as the marauding left winger, but I don't really see that. He can do it. He's got that in him. We've seen at Inter sometimes he does get forward really well and whip some nice balls in. We saw that against Wales. He whipped a couple of nice balls in for Belotti and the others a couple of times. But yeah, you kind of, you lose that the attacking edge of having, a proper fullback there who's able to, he's comfortable being up and down the wing. But he could do it for sure. But I'm seeing Mancini opting for that Emerson choice, because it just makes sense. He knows how to play that role. That's his bread and butter, really, isn't it? That's what he does all the time. Yeah, as Snudger says, Basto as the defensive left back and Berna as the offensive right back. Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Having Bernardeschi, he's played left back for Juventus this season. So you're saying as Bernardeschi as the inverted right back. Ooh, interesting idea. I didn't think about that. That could be an option that I haven't thought about. But again, Bernardeschi, he can play. We've seen he's all right. He's done okay in that role, hasn't he? When we play, I think he played left back against Inter, didn't he? Yeah, I think he played against Inter as left back, and he was okay. And you can do it, but already it's not really his role, and then forcing him to play it in a match against Spain, where you don't know whether you're going to have much of the ball, learning a completely new role, putting him out of his comfort zone. I'm not really sure that's the way to go, to be honest. I'm really, I think I'm more comfortable continuing the way that we are, keeping Emerson as the marauding left back. Honestly speaking, I know we're not really confident in Emerson doing that role, but I'm more confident in Emerson fulfilling, doing a decent job as a left back than Bernardeschi as an inverted right back. But we know Bernardeschi is a completely different guy when he plays for Italy, isn't he? So yeah, it's a good shout there. I didn't think about that, and I wouldn't be surprised, knowing how much Mancini trusts and likes Bernardeschi for the Azzurri. It wouldn't surprise me. But I would opt for this kind of setup. Midfield, I hope there's no arguments anymore now, especially for this match. And this is the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, the midfield battle of this match. You could argue that Italy have the best midfield in the tournament in Europe right now, and I think they've kind of shown it, haven't they? On paper, it sounded good, but it's actually turned out to be good in practice as well. The Jorginho, Verratti, Barella. It's got a bit of everything. It's got a bit of intensity, technique for days, passing for days, calmness, composure, but also final ball goals in there, which is the thing that I was, definitely still lacks. And then you have on the other side Spain with Pedri, Busquets, and Koke. Very similar midfield when you think about it. Because you've got Barella. He's like, Koke is the Barella of the Spain midfield. He's the one. He's the all-rounded midfielder. He does everything. He's got a bit of bite, because that Spain midfield doesn't really have physicality and bite, which is what Koke provides with his running, with his physicality, with his tackling. But he also has a little bit more athletic ability than the other two. He gets into the box. He's got that timing of runs. He's got a little bit more shooting ability, finishing ability. We've seen that over Atletico over the years. Even in this tournament, Koke is the one that gets into the box and is allowed to get into the box and make those runs. And he's missed a couple of chances this tournament as well. So he's the Barella Jorginho, Busquets, that's the easy comparison. Jorginho is kind of the Busquets of this team. Simple passing, keeps it simple, hardly ever loses the ball. Against Belgium, he lost one ball the whole match. He lost one ball or one misplaced pass the whole match. Crazy stats, Jorginho, and also provides that stability, but also running. This is one of the things where Jorginho moving to the Premier League, playing under different coaches like Sarri and Tuchel and Lampard has kind of helped him, I feel. And he is, alongside Pedri. Pedri has the most distance covered this tournament, as per this article in The Athletic. Pedri is the number one, but after Souček, Jorginho is number 3 in terms of distance covered. So this guy, he's got a higher average as well than Pedri, but obviously Pedri has more minutes. 11.2 per 90. Jorginho, there's question marks over him physically, quite rightly. He's kind of weak, and 1v1 or in open space he can definitely be exposed, but this guy has been marshalling that midfield, patrolling that midfield really well. He's got the most interceptions in the Italy team as well. He's got the most tackles in the Italy midfield as well. And, there's calls, which I agree with, that if Italy go all the way, that, for Jorginho to be the player of the tournament. And I think, especially with Spinazzola's exclusion, unlucky exclusion of the tournament, I feel like he's the front runner. I think he's been the best Italian player in this tournament until now, alongside Spinazzola. And if he continues at this rate, I think he could really honestly win player of the tournament and become, I'm not saying he's going to win it if Italy win the tournament, but he could be in the shout for Ballon d'Or, like we were talking about with Lukaku, if everything lines up. This is one of those years where no one's really standing out. You could make a case for anyone who wins this tournament now to actually, be one of the front runners for the Ballon d'Or. So Jorginho, after winning the Champions League with Chelsea, an impressive year, as people were talking about with Kante as well. This is, the Ballon d'Or year, when it is a tournament year, it gets skewed towards the tournament, the main tournament that year, which is the Euro 2020 or the Copa America. So I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, Jorginho just needs to keep going as he is right now. But yeah, as I was saying, Jorginho being the Busquets of Italy's midfield, and then Pedri and Verratti, very similar once again. Pedri, front runner to be young player of the tournament. This guy has been one of the, because I haven't watched too much of Barcelona this year, and he's really impressed me. I've been hearing from Barcelona fans and La Liga watchers that this guy's the real deal. He's been starting pretty much every game for Barcelona, and he's shown this tournament why. And they're comparing him to Iniesta, and I can see why. Obviously, is big comparison to make, but in terms of this guy has been unmovable for Luis Enrique. He's 18, 19 years old, and he's become an unmovable in this midfield, and it says a lot. And another reason why it's a midfield battle between Italy and Spain is the depths of the midfield. It's not just the starting 3, is the substitute 3 are just as strong, you could say. With Spain, you could literally make a case for the substitute 3 to be the starters rather than these 3, because Fabian Ruiz, yes, inconsistent, but he's definitely one of the best midfielders in Serie A, and offers a lot in this Spain midfield. Once again, he offers a lot more goal threat and final ball threat. He's a top midfielder. Thiago Alcantara, before moving to Liverpool, where his form has dipped a lot and he's not really adapted to the Premier League, he is one of the elite midfielders, especially technically speaking, elite baller. Thiago is an elite baller, guys. Like, you could make a case for this guy starting. And Rodri for Man City has been great the past couple of years. He really is going to be the future Busquets of the Spain national team going forward. But whilst Busquets is there, he's going to be starting. But you could make a case for Rodri to be the starter, really. I don't think anyone would complain if Rodri starts ahead of Busquets. So great depth, same as the Italy midfield. You have the Pessinas coming in. We've seen the effect of Locatelli the first few matches. He could be honestly the starter ahead of Verratti or anyone else in that team, and you could make a case for that. And even the injured ones, the ones that didn't make it for Italy, is so stacked. Sensi, Pellegrini, And even for Spain, I'm sure there's some midfielders that I can't think of right now that didn't make the Spain squad. So both the teams, the midfield really is the heart of the midfield, and that's where I think the game is going to be won or lost. And I'm just looking forward to watching that midfield battle, man. It's going to be one of the best midfield battles you're going to see in this tournament, and I think the best midfield battle you're going to see in this tournament. Jenk coming in, what's up, bro? Hey, man, we gotta stop it from coming home. We gotta stop that coming home talk. It's gotta be viene a casa, or what's the Italian equivalent? Arriva a casa. We need to bring it up. Is coming Rome. That's been the new slogan. Is coming Rome. So let's go with that one. Is coming Rome. But let's we talked about the defense, we talked about the midfield, but let's look at the striking options. And obviously we have to talk about what I've put in the bar below, the big topic going on in Italy and between Azzurri fans. Ciro Immobile. Are we starting him? What are you guys saying? What are you guys telling me? Ciruzzo Immobile going viral with his falling over before the Barella goal and then magically recovering. What are we saying? We're giving this guy another chance even after he stinked it up against Belgium. I would honestly, I would go with Ciro Immobile. I would continue with Immobile. I slandered him, and quite rightly, I think he deserved the slander for that match against Belgium, because against everyone in the team stepped up apart from him. We literally won that match in 10 men. I felt like he was, that Benzema line, like, wallahi, this guy is playing against us. When he's talking about Vinicius, Immobile was playing against Italy that match. Every single touch, every single action that he was trying was going wrong. He was damaging the team. But the thing is, the alternative, Belotti, when he came on, I didn't see anything better. His touch was not anything better. He's one of the players that has won the most fouls in Serie A, wins the most fouls because of his hold-up play, his physicality. But against Belgium, when he came on, I didn't see any of that. His touch has been almost as bad as Immobile's. His goal threat is less than Immobile. Let's not forget, guys, Immobile, not this past season, but the season before, he won the Golden Boot ahead of the likes of Haaland, Kane, Lewandowski. Like, let's not forget that this guy has put up elite scoring numbers. Like, this guy has goals in his blood and has scored. Like, before the Austria match, I felt like he was not that good, and then the Belgium one definitely wasn't good. But let's not forget, he was good in the first couple of matches against Turkey, against Switzerland. He was good. He put up 2 goals and an assist. He links up well with Insigne. I don't feel like Belotti doesn't seem to have that same wavelength with the players. I feel like Immobile links up well with Berardi as well. I just think that front three have a much better understanding with Immobile. They know his movements a lot better. And then the riskier option, which I would be more, rather than Belotti, I would be, and I've talked about this, I would rather even risk someone like Raspadori to be, the young, inexperienced but fresh ideas, much more technical than Belotti and Immobile, much more of a link-up player than both of those, much less of a goal threat, you could say, definitely, much less physical. But against these centre backs, the Spain centre backs, they're not the most physical, they're not the most old school centre backs. I would rather risk someone like Raspadori than Belotti. But I prefer Immobile in this one. I think Spain will give you space in behind. I think Immobile can. This is where Immobile thrives, when there's space in behind, because Spain play a very high line. Spain will squeeze the space. And as we've seen from the stats, their start distance, Spain are right at the top here, with the highest start distance of their attacks, which means their defensive line is very high. They dominate the ball. The sequences with 10 plus passes, they're right at the top with 147. So they play out from the back. They press high. Spain once again right at the top from in terms of pressing sequences, 105. High turnovers, they're right at the top, or they're the third best after Netherlands and Denmark. So this Spain team will give you space in behind, and this is where Immobile thrives. Against Belgium, they didn't give any space in behind. They squeezed up on him, three centre backs. It was Immobile versus three centre backs pretty much on his own, and that's not his game. His hold up play sucks. Lazio fans will tell you that this guy cannot hold up play to save his life. Italy fans know that now as well. He playing back to goal, he doesn't thrive. But Verratti, Jorginho, Barella, these guys, Insigne coming in, trying to give balls over the top, in behind Laporte, behind Pau Torres. This is where Immobile is at his best. Immobile is a quick striker. He's not a speedster, but he's a quick striker, deceivingly quick. He thrives on these balls in behind the defense. He doesn't want to come deep and try to play with you. He wants to go in behind. We saw that in a lot of matches. Sometimes some of the balls have been a little bit overhit, or sometimes he just kind of overthinks it and messes up. But this is where he thrives. And I think this is where Italy can hurt Spain. And that Pau Torres, Laporte partnership is not convincing, both left-footed. And we saw that goal they conceded against Switzerland. It was a mix-up between Laporte and Pau Torres. The ball bounced off them, and Shaqiri scored off that. Before this tournament, Pau Torres and Laporte played 68 minutes or something together. So they don't have a partnership built there compared to, a Bonucci, Chiellini, who have played, 10,000, 20,000 minutes together. They know each other inside out. Whereas this Laporte, Pau Torres, centre-back partnership, it can be exploited. As I said, similarly to Italy, they kind of tuck in. Azpilicueta is a much more defensive fullback compared to Jordi Alba, who's given almost like Spinazzola. He's allowed to go up and down this wing, and I think he's created the most chances as well for Spain this tournament. He's still maybe athletically, used to be one of the quickest, but he's still got that pace, but not quite the same pace as he used to. But he's still, up and down. He's a little trained still, so he's definitely one of the key men to watch out for. But for that reason, I think these spaces will open up, and I would play Ciro. Let's see what you guys are saying. He's a good striker, but definitely not an elite striker. No, definitely, he's definitely not an elite striker. You're spot on there, Zizo. Antonio says Spain's defense is way too vulnerable, mistake prone, and very poor on defending set pieces. Yes, very good point, Antonio. That's another point that I hope Italy try to exploit. I saw a lot of corners and free kicks that Switzerland took against Spain, and they looked vulnerable. They're not the biggest team in terms of height. They're not the biggest team in terms of physicality, strength. That's definitely one of the strengths in Italy's team, especially with Bonucci and Chiellini when they come up for corners and indirect free kicks. We've seen Bonucci got that goal disallowed in the last match. We've seen Chiellini go a goal disallowed against Switzerland or Turkey. These guys are good in the air. Immobile maybe is not the greatest. Apart from those two, actually, there's maybe not that much height, but Bonucci and Chiellini, maybe if you put someone like Locatelli in there or Cristante in the second half, like Mancini has been doing, it could be an area where you can definitely exploit for Spain. So good point from Antonio. And Spain's team in the past, with Piqué, Ramos, that was a different business. Obviously there was always space in behind, but those two would be able to cover that. But with these two, Laporte, Pau Torres, they're athletic, they're very good on the ball. They're almost like having midfielders at the back when they're playing out from the back. So there's not much point pressing those two guys. So I hope Italy don't waste too much energy pressing too high, because there's not much point with these Spanish guys. But also, speaking of the goalkeeper as well, let's not forget Unai Simon. That mistake against Croatia where he let the ball go past his foot. Obviously that can happen to anyone. It's not really his fault. And that's actually one of his strengths, like playing out from the back with his feet. Like these guys are, like, as I said, having like midfielders on the ball. But as a keeper, I've not seen him play, but I've not heard, between him, De Gea, and was it Sanchez is the third keeper. I heard that, Luis Enrique was very undecided. So I wouldn't say, whereas with Donnarumma, we know he's one of the best in his position. With Simon, I'm not sure he's that elite of a keeper. So I want, Italy do take those speculative shots. So I want Italy to test Simon from shots, whenever they get a chance. Immobile, Berardi, Chiesa, whoever, Insigne with the tiro a gir, his trademarked curling shot. Test Simon, test his defense. Is definitely susceptible. Is definitely can be got at. Even in front, Busquets, Koke, Pedri is not the biggest shield, the most physical shield. So he can definitely be got at. And then Morata up front for them is going to be an interesting matchup, because he's going to be most likely Morata, as I've said, between him and Gerard Moreno. I think Morata is just about one over Luis Enrique, and I think he offers more in build-up play. Compared to Immobile, he's a lot better off the ball and linking up with players. Morata, and Bonucci and Chiellini, though, they'll know this guy inside out. As they marshaled Lukaku quite well. I think they'll have Morata's pocket. They'll pick Morata's pocket all day long. But Morata, whatever you want to say about this guy, over the years, he's kind of proven to be a big match player for Juventus. Over the years, he scored a lot of knockout goals for Juventus. For Atletico Madrid last year, I remember he scored some important goal against Liverpool in knockout stages. Yeah, this guy, he's built up of over, soft, maybe, very soft approach to games, very soft mentality. He can get down very much. He's been abused a lot by Spain fans, and he talked about that after a couple of matches. He missed a lot of chances, and his DMs were flooded with a lot of abuse. How toxic fans can be, and he looks like he gets him down. You can see this guy is very easily affected by things. Like if he misses a chance in a match, his head will go down. But he's a confidence player. If he gets an early goal, if he gets a nice couple of runs at the beginning, gets a nutmeg on Bonucci or Chiellini, this guy, he's a different player. He's very much a confidence player. I wouldn't be surprised if he manages to nick a goal, just to show Bonucci and Chiellini, to try show them that he's a good player, prove the Spain fans wrong. I'm not too worried about Ferran Torres, the winger. He's got a couple of goals for Spain, but on an individual level, I'm not too worried about him and Dani Olmo, even though Olmo does like to he's a lot more direct compared to Torres and Sarabia. Sarabia looks like he will be an injury doubt. He's been starting most of the time, and he's another one who's got a couple of goals. So that's a big miss for them, for Spain. So yeah, there's not too much that I'm worried about Spain going forward. As I said, they kind of keep the ball for keeping the ball's sake. Milo says Pessina will be crucial. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. We need those runners from midfield in this match. Spain will, stifle possession. They will kill the match, I think, in my opinion. I don't think it will be an open match. I know I said that about the Belgium game, and it ended up being an open match. But I think Spain, just the way they play, they will just kill the match. I think they'll have a little bit more possession in this match than Italy, because that's just how they play, and they can't play on the counter-attack. Whereas Italy, I think, especially if we have Chiesa in the team, I think we can definitely play a little bit more on the counter-attack. We have a little bit more pace and incisiveness in the team to counter-attack with. Whereas with Spain, I don't think they can really counter-attack with the players they have. But it'll be so interesting. Yeah, as I said, Kelvin, I've mentioned this as well. I think the game will be won and lost in the midfield. Against Belgium, Di Lorenzo was targeted, got to keep Alba on the leash. Yeah, but Di Lorenzo, but I don't really like. You could say Di Lorenzo was poor, but then who else do you put there? I think even if you put Toloi there, who's the centre back, more defensive guy, 1v1 against Doku, like the pace of that guy would have exposed anyone. Florenzi would have been even worse, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, it will be a big job for Di Lorenzo, whoever plays right back, to marshal Jordi Alba over here and Dani Olmo. Barella will have a big job, and Berardi, to follow the runs and keep a track on this left hand side. Because as Italy, as I said, they're the same as Italy. When they had Spinazzola, they focus everything a lot on the left hand side, because Alba is their main attacking outlet almost at times. Whereas Azpilicueta is a much more defensive, much more of a defensive wing back, so to say. So this is where I would focus the defensive energies for sure for Italy. in this area here. So whoever it is, Berardi or Chiesa, needs to help out Di Lorenzo, because you don't want to leave him, outnumbered and exposed against Alba, Olmo, or Pedri stepping in like the Verratti who would do that for Italy. So it's a very similar system. So it's literally going to be a battle of who does it better, who does the 4-3-3 better, Mancini or Luis Enrique. And yeah, that's the last talking point as well. Mancini versus Luis Enrique against Belgium. I said, for me, Mancini is a much superior coach to Roberto Martinez, and I think he proved it on the day. Martinez didn't get the tactics right. I think he kind of lost that midfield battle. Tielemans and Witsel was chasing shadows. Here, it'll be interesting to see the positional juego de posición play of Luis Enrique / Tiki-taka play versus, Italy's Tiki-taka. This Italy team is a very Spanish team, but more incisive, in my opinion, compared to this, the way Spain play. But once again, I think, in my opinion, Luis Enrique is one of the elite coaches in world football. And this time I'm struggling to pick between Luis Enrique and Roberto Mancini. But I'm going for Roberto Mancini once again on this one by a margin. I feel like Mancini will find a way to compensate that Spinazzola loss, whether it is that Bastoni way we talked about, whether it is with Emerson Palmieri, whether it is with Rafael Toloi, or even a surprise option, as Nadia said, the Bernardeschi option. I feel like Mancini will find a way to break through this Spanish team. Yeah, I'm not too worried about us defensively. As I said, they create chances, but on an individual level, I'm not too worried about it. I think I see this game going to extra time, honestly. I see this game dragging out, but just because of the way Spain play, kind of just killing the match with their possession. I see this match going to extra time, maybe even penalties. And I feel like if it goes to extra time penalties, I feel like Mancini, as Milo says, with Pessina coming in, with Locatelli coming in, if Berardi starts, if Chiesa comes in with energy, I can see us having a lot more off the bench, options off the bench, tactics, Mancini changing around tactics off the bench. Penalties, I feel like, we've seen Spain's penalties were awful against Switzerland. Busquets missed, a couple of other players missed. They weren't convincing on penalties. I feel like Italy would be much better at penalties as well. Yeah, overall, I just see Mancini, Italy taking this game. I think Italy will go to the final. Yeah, Milo, I agree. I think he could be the better option depending on who he goes as the right fullback. But I would still start Chiesa, in my opinion. But I wouldn't, as I keep saying throughout this tournament, I'm not mad at any decision Mancini makes. If it is Berardi over Chiesa, I'm happy with it. But I think Chiesa's pace just gives him that edge and that energy. Yeah, I'll talk about that later, you and Sarah. So let me finish with my match prediction. I'm going for a 1-1 at full time, and then 2-1 Italy in extra time, or winning it at penalties. That's my prediction. Give me your prediction down below, guys. I'm going for a 2-1 Italy win. Honestly speaking, I'm not seeing too many goals in this one, but I could be proven wrong, and it could be an amazing match for neutrals, and it takes me by surprise, a little bit like the Belgium match, which I predicted right, by the way, so give me some respect. I've predicted a few things right in this tournament. Yeah, we haven't seen Spain under pressure so far, which is true. So the one thing I am worried about is also with Italy. The one team that pressed high in this tournament was Austria, as it showed in the stats, and Spain are the team that press even better than Austria, and Italy were unsettled by that Austria press. So PPDA, which means passes per defensive action, Spain are the team that allow the lowest with 8.3, which means they allow 8 passes on average before undertaking a defensive action. And the team that Italy have played who best did that after Spain is Austria, who were 11.8. And we saw in that match, Austria did not wait, they did not drop deep. They did it in phases, but a lot of the time they pressed high. And, Jorginho, Verratti, Locatelli, Barella, they were all unsettled by this press. And we saw Italy were not comfortable. So I hope Italy are able to take control of the match a little bit better than they did against Austria, because they did struggle against that high press. And Spain are the highest pressing team in the whole tournament. That's what they do. They try to, strangle you with their press, and they try to win the ball back as quickly as possible, because they want to keep the ball. So it's true that Spain haven't been, under pressure so far. And, this is going to be the match where we see, who the superior midfield is. But also at the same time, Italy have shown to that, when they are pressed, that they can a little bit, get unsettled. But at the same time, Austria were a lot more physical in this, their players are a lot more physical, and this Spain team is not as physical. I don't think they'll be able to physically be able to unsettle this Italian team as much. And I feel like the likes of Verratti, Jorginho, Barella will be able to take, control of the match. But yeah, man, it's such a great tactical battle. I'm looking forward to it so much. I'm going for 2-1 on the day after extra time. I feel like Italy will take it to the final at Wembley. And now we can finish off on the other match, which is England-Denmark. What do you guys make of that one? I know loads of you guys have been hating on England. You don't want it to come home. I don't want it to come home. But I've been on the England train for a while, because on paper, and Southgate has translated the on paper into on the field, they're one of the best teams in the tournament, and they've shown it now. Defensively, individually, Stones, Maguire, maybe it's not the best partnership on paper, but they've been doing well because Rice and Calvin Phillips have been doing so well off the ball. These guys have not let teams play football. Like, we saw against Croatia, against that elite midfield of Kovacic, Modric, and Brozovic. They did not let those guys play. We saw them come up against Germany, another elite midfield. They did not let them play. They don't play great football. They're not like Italy. They're not that convincing, but they get the job done because the options they have up front is a little bit like, how Italy have all those options in midfield. England's options in terms of the wingers and attacking midfielders is crazy. You go if you don't play Sterling, you got Grealish. If you don't play Foden, you got Mount. You got Rashford coming in. You got Jadon Sancho coming in. It's crazy depth, creativity. Southgate kind of lets them do their thing up front. Kane was misfiring at the beginning of the tournament, but now is found form. And I know Denmark have looked good. Denmark have probably, after Italy, I think they've probably played the best football in terms of aesthetically, visually. Denmark have been playing some very nice football. There have been some nice standout performers like Damsgaard, which, Serie A fans will know all about, from Sampdoria. Dolberg, one of the surprises of the tournament. And in general, the whole Christian Eriksen thing almost feels like they're the destiny almost wants them to win this tournament, doesn't it? After the Christian Eriksen thing, losing that match, which probably shouldn't have been played, and losing the match afterwards, going through third place. But then since then, they've just been they've been getting better and better, slapping Wales very convincingly, beating Czech Republic very convincingly. It's hard. They've become like everyone's second favorite team, isn't it? Like, whoever you're pulling for, Denmark have become your second favorite team after the Eriksen thing. As an Inter fan, you obviously feel for these Danish guys as well. You want, Eriksen to be happy at the end of the day. But I just can't see past England. Like, they just look, they look serious, guys. I know you guys are hating on them. A lot of people are hating on them. The fans obviously don't make it easy to like England, the English fans. The arrogance sometimes, the is coming home thing kind of makes it hard to like them. But when you have a striker like Harry Kane up front and all those options I talked about, Luke Shaw bringing in his form from Man United into England as well, like he's been balling out. Pickford as a goalkeeper, he's nowhere near the level of, Donnarumma, But for England, he looks like a different goalkeeper. He's been stepping up. He's made those saves against Timo Werner, against Germany, against Kai Havertz. So I'm gonna go for England to beat Denmark and an England-Italy final, which is gonna be perfect for me. Believing in England, I'm gonna be kind of winning both ways. Obviously, I want Italy to win all the way. I'm an Azzurri fan, but if England win, I've got that little bit of backup. I'm gonna claim my British side just for bants. But now I'm joking. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna be England-Italy final at Wembley, and yeah, that's what I'm going for. England wasn't that convincing against Germany. They haven't been convincing against any team, to be honest, apart from that Ukraine match. But Ukraine were broken after their extra time against Sweden. So many injuries. You saw that players were falling off left, right, and center. They were a high pressing team which didn't press against England. You could see they were just tired. But that's the thing. I keep saying that in international tournaments, it's not about being convincing. Portugal 2016, they weren't convincing at all. France World Cup 2018, they weren't particularly convincing in most matches to me. Italy World Cup 2006, not particularly convincing. Just going past matches 1-0, 2-1. Just getting past, low scoring. It's just how you do it. And England, zero. I keep saying it's 0 goals conceded, guys. Like, what more do you want? I don't know what more you guys want for England to be convincing. You don't rate the defenders, but they have 0 goals conceded. Like, that's solid. Even Italy have got 2 goals conceded. Granted, it's a penalty and a weird corner goal that somehow went in. But there's so many things you can say about this England team without them proving you wrong. So yeah, I don't know what more to say when it comes to England. So for me, Italy through to the next round, England through to the next round, England, Italy to the next in the final. But yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow. 8 p.m. kickoff time in the UK. I'm going to be tuning in live, and obviously you guys come and join me for the post-match reaction, which hopefully will be me once again getting gassed and talking about the masterclasses, a Barella masterclass. I'm predicting another Barella masterclass. I'm predicting a Verratti masterclass, and I'm predicting an Immobile goal. I'm going to say it. Immobile is going to score. Shut us all us haters down, prove us wrong, and Morata again, some sort of fluky goal, or maybe a defensive mistake between Bonucci and Chiellini, because probably we're overdue a defensive mistake maybe in there. But yeah, that was me, guys. I went overboard, actually. Yeah, I was going to say I wanted to keep it 30, 40 minutes, but it seems like my monologue kind of went up to the hour mark. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And if you did, leave a thumbs up and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, thumbs up, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the post-match reaction. Forza Azzurri, Forza Inter as always. And yeah, take care, guys. Ciao.